show you how to export or sketch to a DWG file. Doesn't matter what your part is, this process will work for any part. You first need to open it up, and then on your sketch, such as sketch 1 here, hit the 3 dots next to it, and then hit export as DXF DWG. You then want to make sure you got a name on here that makes sense. Always include your name on there. You'll see it says DXF. Click on the arrow next to DXF. Change it to DWG. Sometimes it may come up as DWG, but make sure it is. Then hit export. Next, what I would do is create a new folder on your iPad to make everything nice and neat. So click on my iPad, hit the folder with the plus sign in the upper right corner, and then create a folder for PLTW. Hit done in the upper right corner. Then make sure PLTW is still highlighted. I would create a new folder for whatever project you're working on. So whatever the name of the project is, put that on the folder. I'm doing the keychain, so I'm just going to call it keychain. And now that that's highlighted, when you hit save, it should save this file into that folder. So hit save in the upper right hand corner, and that's it. You should now have that file within the folder that you created, DWG file. In the prior video tutorial, you should have created a DWG file for the sketch that you want to cut on the laser. This is the next step where you're going to convert that to a PDF so you can put it within the Glowforge software. So first go to anyconv.com. I've provided the link within the steps. Next, hit choose file. Then browse. And then you should be able to look within, if it's recent, it'll be here. Or if you don't see it, go to the browse folder in the lower right. So in the lower right, I clicked browse, and then I created a folder with it in there so everything is nice and neat. So it just depends where you saved it at. All right, so now you need to tell it what file type. So AIFF, hit the arrow next to it, change that to a PDF. Hit the convert button. Next, hit download.pdf, the green button. Yes, I want to download, so hit the download button. And now, hopefully it has put it within a folder. So you can see right here is where it put it. So if you look at your recent, I would move this to a folder that I created for this project. So I created a folder already to make everything nice and neat and all together. Hit the move button in the upper right. So now you should have all of your files together in one folder. Any additional questions? When you're designing your parts to be cut in the Glowforge software, there typically is a preview of the wood that you're going to be cutting. If you don't have the machine on and the wood loaded, then you won't see that preview. So if you want to have that preview, you're going to need to get wood from your teacher, open the top of the machine, and place the wood into it. Keep it approximately in the center. Make sure you close the lid, And then you need to turn the machine on. Power button is on the back side here. First want to hit the bluish create button, blank design, and you need to be connected to the school Wi-Fi for this to work. So this is showing a camera view of the machine right now. Next step is to hit the blue plus sign. Be careful, make sure you hit like the bottom half of it. I don't know if it's my fat fingers or the program. If you try to hit it straight on, you end up missing. So be careful when hitting that plus. And then within here, you'll see that there's all this artwork you can add. You can upload a file, which that's what I'm going to do first to show you that. So you can hit the upload symbol on the upper right. And then you can browse on your iPad and find what part you want. So I've already created a PDF that I want cut out. I did that in prior video tutorials. So I'm going to click on that. So it just depends where you saved it, where you'll find it. Hit done. There'll be a delay in processing it normally. Notice it brings it in huge. So you want to look back at your design and figure out what the width and height is. If you look at the bottom left, there's a ruler here, and the aspect ratio is locked. That's what that chain means. So you could just put the correct width in and then you'll get the correct height. So this design, I know I made this, I look back, is 2.25 in width. So now this should be the correct size. Under Enter Settings, you'll see this file in the left browser. You'll see Enter Settings in orange. If you click on that, you can then tell it whether you want to engrave or cut or score, or sometimes you may just ignore it. So I want to cut this out. Now hit Select Material, then select Material again. And normally I just do medium basswood hardwood. So now this is all set to be cut out. Now let's say you've got something else that you want to upload, like a picture, or you want to use the clip art. That's where you would hit this blue plus again. Be careful hitting it. And you could add in artwork such as a snowflake. Normally it takes a while to process any artwork. And so now you look at the browser on the left and you'll see that this file is now on there and it says engrave. Engrave is burn it into there. So you can position this wherever you want it, and then you can change this. If you hit engrave on the left here, you can change that to score. Score, you'll see, kind of does a really, really thin line. So that can look real nice. You can also do a cut on that as well, and this whole thing would be cut out and come out of the part there. If you want to bring in a picture, you can also do that. Hit the big plus again, upload, then you can go to photo library. Let's just say recent. Once again, it takes a while to process, unfortunately. Shrink it down to whatever size you want. And then you'll notice that this is set for engrave. It's interesting, it doesn't show a preview on the left here, but I have to deduce that that's what that must be. That's the third thing I brought in. So typically, image, actually, and it will only let you engrave. That's the only thing that makes sense, actually. Another important tool is this outline tool on the right that looks like a mountain. If I did not use this, this image would not be cut out. It would be stuck on this board and I'd have to use a saw. So this outline tool, if you hit create new outline, will then cut out. So you can adjust how close it is, and you can do this for any part. It's important to do one final check before you print this on the laser. I look at the left browser where it has the DC, my keychain cut, the snowflakes over on the left there. So I'm going to go down the line. DC, the initials, I created a second keychain because I want to engrave DC rather than cut and see how that looks. I then cut the outside of it. If you look here, cool, that's good. I do want to cut that out. That keychain, I want to cut it out. Yes, that's correct. The snowflake, I've got one that I want to score to show you what that looks like, and I've got one that I want to engrave. I made one giant mistake on purpose so I can show you this. I did not outline the snowflakes. Without an outline, they will be permanently on this board. You'd have to cut out with a saw. So you want to click on those and then hit the mountain symbol on the right. That's the outline symbol. Looks like a mountain. So you want to hit create new outline around it. And you can adjust how close it is. Most of the time, I'd just do 0. If you're cutting out a picture, you might have to do a little more, but all right, that should be, oh, yep, that's good. Now the other one, same thing. This is going to be scored, so I probably want to have an outline that's further out. If I have it right on there, I wouldn't even see that it's scored. So maybe I put it pretty close. Let's see what this would look like. Kind of silly, but all right, now that I have everything I want on here and I've double checked everything, that's when I'm going to go and hit the print button. Say I understand, yes, I need to watch this machine. And then I hit I understand for material again. This can take a while for it to autofocus. All right, 8 minutes. The next step is going to be to go over to the machine and press the start button. Before you start the machine, make sure that you turn on the exhaust fan. To cut, engrave, or score your part, the last step is then to press the flashing button. So if you've done it correctly in the software, this button here should be flashing. All you have to do is hit that button and it should start to cut out your part. Now that your parts are done, last step is just to take it out of the machine. So you can see the difference between the cut keychain versus the engraved keychain. And then you can also see the difference on these snowflakes. You can see what a scored one looks like versus a engraved snowflake. Ask your teacher, but you may need to then turn the machine off if nobody else is using it. Turn the exhaust fan off. Make sure you close down the lid and put away all the parts that were just cut.